Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today, we're talking about deck number 302, Raff Capashen. Capashen, I don't know. Anyway, just a brief, real quick thing. The way I intook the Dominaria stories is because I do a lot of driving. I live an hour away from where I work, so I listen to a lot of the audio podcasts, things like that. And they did a exceptional job. Oh, I can't think of the name of that channel to save my life. He's amazing, and he gets listeners to do the voices of the characters. Now, Raff Capashen sounded absolutely annoying. So that's what I had in mind when I built this deck. And so I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to make the deck as annoying as he is. So here's what I did. I was like, okay, we're playing blue-white. Historic matters. So there's a few cards that I automatically put in just because, historic. I threw Thran Temporal Gateway so that I could just dump things. And then, of course, Mox Amber, we're still in that same set. And I was like, you know what? We're going to, instant speed. Now, Mox Amber, not amazing, okay? It's not. It has fallen so far out of grace. It's the cheapest Mox out there and probably will forever be until it finds a home. But anyway, it's more of thematic than ramp. But I was drawn to the Mox and I went, you know what? We're going to need real ramp. And since they're artifacts and I can play them at instant speed, I'm going to want a bunch. So I looked through the binders back behind me, and I grabbed every blue-white artifact that I could find or ramp of any kind. The Soul Ring, both diamonds, one black border, one white border. A Dynamo, a Hedron. Gosh, I love the Hedron. Cluestone. Now, these next two, not... George Familiar is not exactly what you're thinking of when you think of ramp artifacts as we're playing, or I'm sorry, as many historic spells as we're playing. It's ramp, and it's a 2/2 body if that matters. And of course, Helm of Awakening is the make friends with everybody. Now, so I'm like, okay, historic. I've got my mana ramp. So what else do we do? What else is historic? Well, Planeswalkers. All right. So I threw in some Planeswalkers. Obviously, first, I was like, well, we're playing artifacts, so I definitely need a Karn. Using the Planeswalker deck, Tezzeret here. I believe it's the Planeswalker one, isn't he? I don't know. It's one of the new Tezzerets. Dovin, these particular assortment of Planeswalkers is because they were the ones I had. They were in blue and white. Typically, a Planeswalker is something that people want to kill anyway. You're going to essentially gain some life, ish. Actually, it's not really gain life. It's not take damage. I've had people swing out, dedicate way too much to removing a Planeswalker when I could have been killed in the same amount of time. But y'all know that. And then, of course, some of them, I found a home for Mu Yang Ling. That's right. And then, last but not least, of course, with all those walkers, I was like, well, I kind of want this new Oath of Teferi. I'd like to have a Teferi to go on the deck, but, things being what they are. So I was like, I'll take the Oath of Teferi. Activate them twice each turn. And then I was like, Chain Veil. Man, we can do it a bunch. If I only had the original Tezzeret, it could get dumb in a hurry. So I'm like, all right. So playing a lot of artifacts. Unwinding Clock works really, really good with that amount of artifact ramp. And what else works with the Unwinding Clock is, everybody's friends like the Planar Bridge or the Magistrate Scepter. Staff of Domination is just amazing by itself. Now, hated to do it, but Paradox Engine fit the deck, and I firmly believe I'm trying not to crutch too hard on this card because literally it can go in just about every deck. But I'm trying not to crutch on it because Paradox Engine, I feel like, is going to reach critical mass at some point. And they're going to do something about it. But anyway, so it's like, well, I got a whole lot of artifacts, so let's, Master of Ethereum, this seems like a natural fit. And then briefly, for a brief moment, I was like, Brian, are you making a two-color Shroom deck pretty much? No. So, Voltaic Key is going to untap some things, probably Magistrate Scepter, and so will Unbender Time. Sculpt will get you there too. Now, since I am playing with all those walkers, might as well go tutor one up with a dude, right? With a dude and a spell. I was like, well, artifacts. Couple cards you just gotta have. You gotta have your Fabricate, and I'm gonna want to draw some cards. A Thoughtcast, spending 1 mana to draw 2 cards is a really, really good deal. Also running Impulse for the lulls. I love the Visions. Love the Visions version of this card because of the, every single copy of it was misprinted. That second line is just weird. But anyway, game plan, Battle Bond, because, somebody table might want a Time Twister too. Run some counter magic and counter spell and negate. I figure while we're on topic of that particular set, we might as well get a mystical tutor because, there are times when we need to do some tutoring. I was like, well, you know what? I'm a little creature light. I really am a little creature light. So, but the creatures I want to play, the Ethereum Sculptor, Psychosis Crawler, artifacts. I was like, I want to run some just absolute blue-white beaters. So I started off with Yosei, because why the hell not, he's Yosei. He's a big flyer and makes somebody have a bad day if they kill him. And then, of course, his brother, I say brother, they're from the same set. I don't know if they're, related. Anyway, Kiga. And I'll admit, what caught my eye about Kiga is I was looking through and I had a shiny one. So that's why what caught mine. I was like, yeah, he's pretty cool. Genji, playing Genji, because Genji is totally not fair, and he's totally annoying, just like this deck is. And it's like, well, you know what? Let's look at some removal. Of course, I'm going to run the Disenchant, the Sword to Plowshare, of course, end hostilities. Now, I got 2 of these in my pre-release, this Cleansing Nova. I love this. Now, obviously, in this deck, we're never going to pick the second mode, but it's there if we need it. Let's see. Also, oh yeah, how could I forget? The most played blue card in our format, Cyclonic Rift. Now, Lightning Greaves is going to flash in, of course, to protect your general. In Bolas Clutches, probably not good enough to be in the deck, but it is historic. So I was like, being able to play this at instant speed to instant speed, Mr. Steel Girl, literally because this is Bolas stealing Lily. I'm just saying. He is Mr. Steel Girl. But I thought that was cool to steal a creature. I'm running Nexus of Fate. It took a while for me to realize this was a freaking instant. Oh my god. 7 mana is a little much, take an extra turn, but not really. What's the beacon? How much the beacon cost? Is it 6 or 7 or whatever? Anyway, but it gets shuffled back into the deck, and it's an instant speed. So you can do some weird things in 4 or 5 player games, interrupt the turn order, just, cause absolute confusion and delay, as Sir Topham Hatt would say. Now, but I thought, you know what? This is not annoying. There's a few slots, and actually I settled upon it early that I'm going to show and tell out something, which y'all seen we have a lot of stuff that's pretty expensive. You know, Jinja taxes and Keegan Yosei and all this other stuff. Hell, it's not a bad plan. You could, in this deck, feasibly show and tell on turn 2, get your Paradox engine out there. That'd be sweet. Only thing sweeter than that would be like, I don't know, Omniscience. And then it's fun. Omniscience. God, this card should have never been made. I mean, it's thank God the price has fallen. But I'm telling you, folks, get them now because M19 is not going to be printed forever. And once that particular faucet shuts off, the supply is the supply. And, you know, the number of EDH decks that exist in the world are just increasing. I know, I think I'm responsible for a chunk of it, but I love me some Omniscience. I think this is only my second or third. I don't know. Y'all, longtime viewers, y'all will know longer than I do because all my Omnisciences are indexed. Now, the thing about Omniscience, though, casting spells for the free, any additional cost, now additional costs get added before you cast the spell, not alternate cost. So with Omniscience, you can't do things like flashback because that's an alternate cost. But things like buyback, yes, it's still for Omniscience and Capsize, is sick and disgusting. If you have the Capsize in your hand and the Omniscience on the board, you move to Capsize one thing, and you just ask the table, is there any responses? Because, you know, and, you know, people that are paying attention can pretty well guess exactly what you're going to do. You know, everything goes back to everybody's hand. I'm going to play Solitaire for a little while because Raff is a douchebag, and that's how I built the deck. Maybe one of the worst things is Enter the Infinite. Now, Enter the Infinite does something really, really neat with Nexus of Fate. Yeah, that's right, Nexus of Fate. Because you're putting your entire deck in your hand and putting one card back. And if that one card is Nexus of Fate, you take infinite turns. Because Nexus of Fate shuffles itself into its library. It'll be the only card. That's the card you draw. Rinse and repeat. Like I said. Man, that Raff is annoying. But there was another combo that I had been looking for a while to put in a deck. Last year, when Our Devastation came out, we got Solemnity. And it's pretty neat. Now, if you'll remember, nothing here has counters on it. Well, except the Planeswalkers. And Solemnity actually does not care about Planeswalkers. Weirdly enough. I had the chance to actually play this deck last night. I did actually get to go play. We didn't do the no ban night because, you know, there was a couple other people who were out for various other reasons. But played Raff. I got Solemnity out against Infectatraxa. And for about 4 to 5 turns, it was amazing. Solemnity just by itself. I was hoping, really, really hoping for the draw that I would get the Decree of Silence. It didn't happen. Now, Solemnity does say enchantments cannot have counters. But Decree of Silence, whenever an opponent plays a spell, or cast a spell now, counter it and put a counter on this. If there are 3 or more counters on it, sack it. This can't get counters. It does as much as possible. Whenever an opponent plays a spell, counter it. With these 2 enchantments on the board, your opponents cannot play spells. Absolutely, probably the most annoying thing. That is tantamount to making everyone concede. I mean, it really is. Nothing says, you know, I play Commander so I can watch 3 other people not play Commander. But I'm sure y'all saw the memes. But that's what I've got for Raff. I do appreciate y'all watching. The people who watch till the end here, thanks a bunch. What is it that they say? Smash the like button? I don't know. That's kind of not my style. But I do appreciate you watching. Got the deck list up out on Tapped Out. It's not exactly budget, as you would see. Well, I guess everybody's version of budget is a little different. I have a lot of decks that are under $50. Heck, I got some that are under 20. This is not one, just because of some of the cards, the show and tell, the whatever. There are a lot of things I could do to improve this. There's a ton of stuff, but y'all know me. I work with what I got. I appreciate you watching. But right now, I think we're going to shuffle and cut.